Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. Welcome back to the Tactical Insight Show. Another tough one. But I find them therapeutic, to be fair, Graham. Going through it, trying to understand what went right, what went wrong. Already going through the notes, planning the show. I've come out feeling a little bit better about Arsenal and the fact that it is 1 point and 9. All is not lost, but we do have to dissect a disappointing result.
Yeah, very disappointed last night, but very proud of the team. I will say, first of all, enjoyed that feeling of being part of one of the two best teams in the league going head to head.
Yeah,
because we haven't felt that as fans, Arsenal fans, for a while. So that was a good thing. And I think Arsenal lost the game last night, sticking to their principles, James, the way they play out from the back. But in the end, those principles cost them with defensive errors. Arteta said after the game that basically you have to play at their level to compete with them. And we had them. He said we had them, but we gifted them goals and they destroyed us. And that is a true reflection of the game. I thought first half our football was excellent. I thought that we played almost the perfect first half, deserved to be level at half time. Second half, we came out. I didn't think we did what the game asked us to do. City, who were in this 3-2-2-3 shape in the first half, which we're going to talk about, Pep changed it up second half because they had first half, the team was struggling. City had their lowest possession stats, pass accuracy stats under Pep. Something like 36% possession actually in the game, the lowest ever under Pep. But the system he recognised first half wasn't working, so he changed it up at half time, went back to the 4-3-3 to get the extra body into midfield and also to start pressing us aggressively. And I think this is where this young Arsenal team needs to learn. We play one way, we like to play our football. We commend the team and Arteta for the way we play. But that game last night, when they started pressing us aggressively, was asking us to do something else, James. To start doing long. City were going long a lot last night to Haaland. They averaged something like, in normal games, something like 8.7 long passes, 4.4 long passes a game. Last night, they averaged, they did 8.7 long passes, average of their long passes in that game. That showed they were willing to go long. And they also changed the way they played. They started pressing us aggressively, James. We needed to change. We couldn't deal with the long ball. Also, Haaland was a constant threat. Partey was a massive miss. And I know we're going to talk about that today.
We are. And you've got the 11s here. You're right to point out, I was really surprised they went with that back three. And in fairness, my gut feeling on them approaching it with this formation was actually correct, and Guardiola responded to that because you found Bernardo Silva often coming out to the left-hand side to defend Bukayo Saka. He was really the left-back kind of filling in there. I think he could have been sent off for the amount of yellow card challenges alone, or just simply the amount of fouls alone in that first half. Arsenal had to respond to the fact, let's bring him back, had to respond to the fact that Jorginho came in for Partey. We're going to actually talk about Jorginho. I thought he had a really good game. And Tomiyasu, which wasn't a forced change, but it was a tactical one Arteta went with. I don't want to brush over this Partey thing, because the one thing about Partey, and look, he's been immense for us. He really has been since signing. I think he did an interview where asked about his time at Arsenal. This was about a year ago. He said he was probably a 4 out of 10. He wasn't, he said, I don't think I've been anywhere near as good as I can be. And I felt since then, he's been brilliant. And you can really see when we've missed him. But I'm getting to that point of frustration now where I'm starting to think, how much can we keep relying on a player who unfortunately just gets injured too often? In the 2021 season, a hamstring hip injury kept him out for 19 games. Knock and ankle injuries kept him out for 14 games the season after. He's now missed, 4 games. I think it's now a 5th. When you include Man City with the thigh and muscle injury this season. It's not his fault, but it's just frustrating when you then look at the games he has missed. By the way, if anyone watched Starting 11 show, you'll have seen all this, but I think it's important we go back over it. Again, I've separated it into the seasons. If you just look at some of the games he's missed, how many Man City games he's missed, that's 4 ties against Man City he's missed. That's 3 against Chelsea, a couple against Spurs. Don't know why I've named them Spurs and then Tottenham. But then you've got, the big, Tottenham away, Newcastle away. Those are big moments. And again, I'm not blaming him, but it is frustrating. And the reason it's frustrating is because of this that you sent through to me here. That this season, no Arsenal player has registered more tackles with 42, interceptions 20, or possession wins in the middle third with 81 than Thomas Partey. And that tells you everything, Graham.
Yeah, I think he was a massive miss yesterday. Obviously, when I heard the news, I was gutted. I know how important he is to the way we play in that single pivot. I think last night with City going long quite a lot to Haaland, and Haaland was up against Saliba or Gabriel, whoever was engaging with him. If Partey been there for the second ball, you know, he would have offered us that protection, and also he would have sort of like offered us. He could have contested aerial balls even. It was a massive miss because Jorginho had a really good game, but he can't replicate what Thomas Partey does. Yeah. And I think
certainly in terms of the physical presence.
Yes, that's the word.
I thought Jorginho kind of very good on the ball.
Yeah.
Lots of impressive defensive stats as well. Actually, the amount of times he was able to read the game. I mean, that when people talk about reading the game, that last night's performance was what Jorginho put in there. We're going to talk about Jorginho in more detail, but let's get everyone into their shapes and then break down for me how you felt Arsenal looked and approached this and how City then responded in the second half. Let's get Odegaard forward. There we go. The usual sort of tucked in position that Tomiyasu has. But what was your feeling, especially about that first half?
First of all, I'll ask you a question. Do you think City disrespected us? I know we're going to go to the match stats in a minute, actually. But do you think City disrespected us in not playing a left back? The first thing I thought to myself when I saw that, no left back. And Saka's on the right down here. And I know Bernardo Silva has got a two job to sort of like fill in a two and come across.
He did come across a lot.
He did come across a lot, but he's not a left back, is he?
No.
Do you think they disrespected us, in your opinion, by playing it?
Yeah, I do. Because I think Pep recognised that.
Yeah.
I think Pep recognised, and that's why he makes the big change.
Yeah, I think that if you look at this lineup, then it's basically what he's doing is I think he wants to be compact in this area. Compact in this middle of the pitch, because he knows that Arsenal, when they go into their shape, if you start moving the players into their shape up high, so he knows that Martinelli's going to hold the touch line up high. He knows that Saka is going to be there. He knows that Xhaka is going to be in the left half space. It's the left side in number 8. He knows that Odegaard's going to come on the right side of number 8. So he knows that basically the way Arsenal are going to play, he wants to make it compact around here. So it's like a 3-2-2-3 shape. But I thought that we played round it very easily. We played in that first half.
I did too.
We were sort of like playing around their press their limited press. I thought first half, and they are a very strong pressing team. Second half, the difference in their press I thought was there to see. But we played around it very well first half. Gave them a lot of problems up high in these areas. And I think there was some subtle tweaks I noticed during the game, which I want to touch on today. I didn't think Tomiyasu got forward as much, and I think the connections on that side were broken. Saka and Odegaard, obviously, Odegaard coming in here, but Tommy was sitting more. But as a result of that, I thought there was a definite shift on the left-hand side last night, and I thought that Gabriel Martinelli was coming more inside. And Xhaka, if we move him up here, and I thought Zinchenko was more higher.
The
on the
switch was on.
And then I thought Xhaka was then filling in at times back here in the pivot. So I think Arsenal play this sort of possession game. They're very fluid with their movements. Pep would know that. But there was, I think, a subtle tweak from Arsenal last night with Tomiyasu sitting more and Zinchenko getting high. And he slung in that a very early cross, which really Eddie Nketiah, he really should have buried. Yeah,
he should have. They made a change at half-time. Because I thought the first half, Arsenal, you're right, it was a near perfect first half. I mean, look, you got the error from Tomiyasu. Other than that, I don't think, they forced one save from Ramsdale, but I think Gundogan was offside.
I think the other thing,
they hit the crossbar, which was a little bit lucky.
I think Jorginho was coming in here into the
three. Yeah, he did that.
And that was drawing their midfielders forward. And that was sort of like creating a space in the middle.
Yeah.
And then we had our connections. The space was being created. So Jorginho picking the ball up deep, bringing their midfield and forward players forward, creating a bit of a space for us to sort of like rotate, get the positions up high. And I thought we played some good football first half. I thought the football we played first half was excellent, James, in that first half.
I felt City didn't really know how they wanted to press us, because at times it was actually then, Mahrez coming more centrally to press with Grealish, and then Gundogan sitting at times, De Bruyne pulling out right, and then Bernardo coming out. I mean, I honestly saw so many different shapes from City in the way they tried to. I don't know whether they were going for man. I mean, I was paying more attention to the Arsenal side of things. But what they did do in that second half, we just tidied this up a little bit. What they did do is end up getting Akanji on the pitch. Let's bring Akanji in. Where is he? Here he is. They brought Akanji on. They took Mahrez off.
And Silva came over to the other side.
And then they just went to a flat back four. Oh, it'd be nice if Walker wants to move. There we go. Had no problem moving yesterday, did he? He was very good. And then Akanji, they went to a back four. Gundogan, Rodri in midfield.
And Bernardo came over here.
Bernardo
offered them a lot of energy in that area out there to sort of stop us in that area. Because I think Pep recognised in the first half we were, on the left-hand side, hasn't been our stronger side recently. We were having some joy in those areas, and he wanted somebody who was energetic, who could get across the pitch a bit, and he offered them that on that side.
They restored balance by this point, and actually, you know, he's the one who wins the ball back, and then they go and score. We're going to touch that in a sec. I think a big issue Arsenal had, and I really wanted to do, you know, an actual segment on this, is how wasteful we were in this, or not even so much wasteful with chances, because Eddie missed some really big chances, let's be honest. He's in the team to score. He's missed some really big ones. Granted, did the job against Manchester United at home. Fair enough. Didn't in this game. Saka, I thought, excellent. I think the best of the front three. But at the same time, you look at that chance when we actually play, we switched the play. Some really lovely passes. Jorginho finds that incisive cutting pass into Odegaard, or Xhaka, and then Odegaard, and then it gets to Saka. He doesn't get the shot away, he sort of hesitates on that. And that was a little bit of a theme that ran through Arsenal, was I thought City, while not at their best, they were decisive in what they wanted to do. The minute Tomiyasu plays that bad back pass, De Bruyne is there, and he goes, I'm lifting this. And he didn't take a touch and look up and see where Haaland was there. He just went, this might be my one opportunity, I'm going to take it. Now, Arsenal had a few moments where I thought they were really wasteful, especially in the second half, as it got stretched and as the game just started to tire, and it was, right, whose concentration's there and who is going to take advantage of these dying moments of the game. Let's get rid of this Jack Grealish thing here. Right, so here's a little kind of freeze frame. It's not a photo I've recreated, but you get my point. Xhaka, for me, has to get this pass right into Eddie Nketiah. I think there's a very clear either run on goal. Look, Akanji might come across, but maybe there's a cutback. Martinelli has the run on Diaz. If we open it back up, there's even potentially a pass into Martinelli's feet. There's something. That, for me, is the biggest moment. That was, I think, that was before, as a 1-1 before they scored. And we were talking 90 seconds or so before Grealish goes at the other end and scores. But those moments when it opened up, because there wasn't a lot of that in the game. There weren't many openings. There weren't many kind of opportunities for both Arsenal and City to go, this is where we can kill them. This is where we can do something. And in that moment, Xhaka overhits it, goes out of play, and you're thinking, that is so frustrating, but okay, regroup. And by the way, even if you overhit it but it stays in play, at least you're keeping maybe a sustained spell of possession in and around the penalty area. At least you've got them to drop back something. But because it runs out of play, immediately it deflates that move and it deflates Arsenal. Then we had, this is at 2-1 down, a very similar moment where Xhaka here, he thinks he's going to pass. And now in fairness, it actually comes from a bad first touch. Because the ball comes into him from here, his first touch takes him back in this direction, and actually, if his first touch had opened him up, as it comes in, he opens his body up with that first touch, maybe that ball is into Martinelli for that zip pass through, and then you don't know. There's Nketiah at the back post, there's Odegaard waiting for the cut back. How often have we seen the ball kind of, help if I can move it, yeah, go there, then for the cutback, maybe it comes across to Saka. But in all fairness, I think City are defending this quite well. They'll probably be all right. But the point is, there was just a lack of conviction from Xhaka, because when he doesn't release that pass, and then he goes, okay, well, I might shoot, but then he feints the shot, eventually takes it, either Rodri or Diaz, I can't remember, has blocked it. So again, a little bit of an opening, a chance to cause City some problems. We are just a little too lacklustre in our decision-making. But then City, which happened in between these two freeze frames I've shown you, had one moment in the whole game up at this point where you thought, okay, Arsenal made an error, the space is opened up, we stretched them a little bit, can we hurt them? You bet they can. They did it expertly, like they've been doing it 4 out of the last 5 seasons, winning titles. In this situation, Gabriel, what he's done, he's won the ball back, and he thinks there's a cut-through pass to Xhaka. Now, people are going to get onto Gabriel. He made the mistake. He's made the mistake, so it's an error. It's led to goal, and of course you blame him. However, I see what he's trying to do, because all the joy we had in the first half was from actually playing through the lines, cutting out that first line of press, and then you're running at a pretty exposed Manchester City. But we get it wrong in this situation. Bernardo reads it well, and when he wins it back, you mentioned right that Gabriel then tries to fix the error. Probably not much more you can do, but it's the decision making from Haaland. He doesn't think, oh, should I try and take on Saliba and shoot? What should I do? He very quickly realises, I'm not going to get a shot on here. Saliba's come around to cover, but I look up. Where's my next option? Where's my next man? Gundogan's there on the edge of the area, and what does Gundogan do? Doesn't take a touch, doesn't wait. First pass into Grealish. So I know I'm talking loads, but I really just want to emphasise this point.
If you stop it there. Right, so I'll just make a point there.
Go for it.
When Gabriel gives the ball away, and that's the way we asked him to play. We asked him to play out from the back, sticking to our principles of playing through the press, as you said. Once he gives the ball away, he chases it to try and win it back. The moment,
should we show that?
Yeah, the moment he doesn't do that, get the ball back. You know,
so it's there. Yeah,
he chases out. Now he could have tried to hold his position, but he wants to win the ball back. The moment he's now not won the ball back, we've got problems because they've got an overload. And basically, you talked about sort of our decision making, but that opens up for them. We're outnumbered in that action. The moment that happens, they're going to kill us because they've got the spare man. Our defence has to come across. Because he's lost the ball, he's out of his position now. So Saliba's got to come across. Tomiyasu's got to come across, and Tomiyasu obviously was the one who was brought in. We have to mention actually the reason why Tomiyasu was brought into the team, bit like he was brought into the team against Liverpool to mark Salah when he played on the other side as left back. Arteta gave him a job on Salah. He gave him a job last on that side against Jack Grealish. He's now got to come across, so he's left his man. So the moment they work it, if you just carry it on, they've outnumbered us in that piece of play, in that action. And they get it right. You are right, the decision making is perfect, but they've got the spare man at the back post. And unluckily for Tomiyasu, who made the error, in that first half, he was playing it back to Ramsdale on the instructions of Arteta. Arteta was telling him on the touchline, play it back.
Is this for the goal?
For the goal that De Bruyne scored. So, and then his luck in the second half was out again, because when Jack Grealish takes that shot, I'm convinced Ramsdale's saving that, but it nicked off Tomiyasu, and that took it over Ramsdale. But the point being is, you play it across, we've had to shift our defence across. They've got the extra man on the overload on that side, and that's what led to the goal. So Gabriel, coming forward, trying to play with our principles, has made the error, and we've been punished. And that's what Arteta said. They destroyed us. We gave them the goals. They punished us. You've made some good points about our indecisiveness. I think this, to me, looked like the best two teams in the league, but one team who've been there before, done it before, have got experience, who understand in the big moments what they have to do, which our players, this is their biggest game of the season, isn't it? They've never been in this position before. So, and I think that was telling last night. City in the big moments were better.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not, you know, it's okay that to a degree it looked a little bit men against boys. And people might say, what, really? Where are your standards? And I get that. But, you know, City have won 4 of the last 5 titles. This is a young team, largely young team, that is, you know, trying to grow into potential title challenges. And in the last 20 minutes, City, they were better the whole second half. We were better than first half, but they were very controlled in the second half. Even though they didn't have as much of the ball, you know, there was a lot to enjoy about the way we, you know, in the second half. Let me rephrase that, sorry. In the first half, we were the better team. In the second half, there's a lot to enjoy about the way we had the ball, but didn't have it in significant areas. City were happy for us to have it. It's, you know, basically say we kind of know where you're going to be. And I think they sensed and knew that opportunities were going to come.
I think, looking at it, we only had 3 shots in the whole of the second half. That's one thing I will say. And we only had was it only one on target in the game last night?
Should we look at all that?
Let's
because
look at the stats.
You know, we normally do this first thing, and it's my bad. I'd normally bring them up sooner, but
we'll go through this. But look, I mean, this is Pep's lowest ever numbers, and we have to give Arsenal credit. And Pep gave us credit, didn't he? So basically, they've never had as little as 36% possession in any Premier League game. Look at the passes. His lowest ever pass rate in a Premier League game, 224, and the accuracy of his passing was only at 72% last night. They had the lowest possession numbers of any Premier League game, and that's what we did to them. We were able to do that to them. But We had a lot of shots. Look, 10 shots, only 1 on target. They had 5 of their 9 on target. And we had like double the passes. The XG heavily in favour of them. No. So if you want to go quickly onto the, we just plough quickly through the attacking stacks. And again, we'll reflect that we're up high. We go through these quickly. Look, we outdid them in all the key numbers, and we had massive field tilt, but only 1 of our shots was on target, and we only had 3 shots in the whole of the second half, James.
That supplements the whole thing about decisiveness and just you know, just having conviction. But it's not the first time. You look at Liverpool at home last year. You look at maybe Man City at home last year is a little bit harsh, but there were several performances where Arsenal actually played quite well. Went toe to toe and were happy to give it a go against sides that we perhaps didn't think we'd beat. And yet came out on the losing side because we didn't have that conviction. You could say Old Trafford earlier this season were a little bit similar. And look, that can happen. You know, when you're a team that has so much of the ball, has so many shots on goal and all that, there are going to be games where you just don't win sometimes. And the stats will reflect that you probably should have, but you didn't do this or that, whatever. But there was a real sense of Arsenal every time we attacked, especially in that second half, the sense of this is our only chance. It just felt that way watching Arsenal.
I think the second half, City won the game because of the way they changed. We said last week against, when we discussed the Brentford game, or on Monday when we did the Brentford show, Arsenal needed to change the way that, you know, maybe change shape, done something different, you know, because Brentford were stopping us from playing in the half spaces, they were doubling up on us out wide. But Pep found another way to beat us last night, and that was to go back to his 4-3-3, to actually sort of like stop the, have the extra man in midfield to stop us sort of in those areas. And he changed the style of play, as we've talked about. They average something like, as I said, 8.7% of their passes were long. That's double what they normally play in a game. He was going long to Haaland, and we were struggling with that long ball. That's the second game running where they've...
Well, Haaland was really good.
Haaland was really good last night. He was excellent, but he was giving our defenders real problems in the air, just like Tony did on Saturday. So we are struggling at the moment with the long ball. But why didn't we do that? When the game was asking us really in the second half, when they started really pressing us aggressively, pushing us back, really it should have been like, mix it up a bit, go longer more, try and get some territory, you know, play off second balls more. Push them back because they were pressing us aggressively, and they started to get in control of the game. They started getting set plays, started putting us under pressure, and the goal was coming. But defensive stats just very quickly. What do you make of that?
They beat us. I mean, they beat us for tackles, interceptions, clearances. But I mean, is that a higher passes per defensive action?
We got the better passes per defensive action. The lower is the better number. But you know, normally, I mean that's pretty good. 11.2. I mean, I must have been surprised that shows you actually in the first half.
How little
they weren't pressing as much. Second half, they were pressing us really aggressively, James.
I agree. Let's touch on some positives and then look to the future. I want to talk about Jorginho, all the panic, and look, Partey was missed for sure to a degree because I believe he's one of the best number 6s in the world. But let's give this guy credit. And you sent me these numbers, and actually you sent me these numbers for his first half.
This is his first half.
But I've gone and got the stats for the whole game. So 58 out of 66 passes completed, 15 out of 20 in the final third. By the way, only Zinchenko managed not more, but 15. No, I think it was 16 and 18. So he was second to Zinchenko. 8 ball recoveries, I think more than any other Arsenal player. 3 interceptions, more than any other Arsenal player. Fair play to him. I thought he did his thing.
He had a good game, and he's obviously coming as backup for Thomas Partey. And I think that obviously as much as we missed Partey, we didn't lose the game because Jorginho played last night. I'd like to make that quite clear. He had a good performance. I think we lost the game tactically, the way Pep changed it second half and we didn't respond. But yeah, he had a really good game.
You know what's funny? You just brought up there why we lost the game. I know I said let's look at the positives and look forward. But I think just in a line, Brentford, Everton was just whatever. It happened.
The Dyche effect.
Right.
Goodison Park, lunchtime kickoff.
Brentford, I felt the attack did its thing. They had to come up against a really difficult low block. They got the goal. They actually fashioned a couple chances. And it was about the defence standing up and ensuring that the 1 goal is going to be enough because we weren't going to get more than that or maybe 2 against Brentford. Defence let us down. In this game, I know there were some defensive errors, for sure. But ultimately, if you're not doing your job in the final third to cause problems, you're only inviting more pressure on your defence. So yes, there was an error from Tomiyasu. Yes, there was an error from Gabriel. Yes, the third goal looks far too easy. But they were put under immense pressure in that second half. Not only without the ball to defend City, but also on the ball to try and play through them. And the few times we did get through them, I felt actually in this occasion it was the attack that let the defence down. Odegaard, Xhaka need to show more inventiveness in the final third. Martinelli needed to be more direct. Nketiah need to be more clinical. And I think it was a flip to Brentford where I felt it was that front five that let the back five down. But anyway, that's a complete opposite point. Let's look ahead to Villa. I want to touch on this quickly for the roundup stats. This is my potential starting 11. I want to get your thoughts on what you would do. And here's how I've explained how and why I'm doing it. First and foremost, restore White to the team. He's been our best right back. He's had a few games out. Go with him. Tierney at left back. I think he comes in.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
You'll have Dave Jordan off you.
I know. Because I do think it's time we get a little bit of defensive solidity alongside. That's a proper back four defensively. I bring Zinchenko into midfield. I think Xhaka looks tired. I think he adds a lot of quality on the ball in the final third. I think he's got some inventiveness and can do a little something in there as well. I'm then bringing Martinelli into that striking or number 9 position because I think he would play it far more similarly to Jesus. Nketiah, he's done well when he's come in, but I think we need to show teams that we can do something really different. And in this situation, you have Trossard coming into those pockets, you have Tierney overlapping, and then you have Zinchenko ultimately just filling into that space he normally fills into anyway. So his role doesn't change too much while he can get forward a little bit. And then you've got the usual Odegaard coming forward.
So you're taking out Eddie and Nketiah?
Eddie, Xhaka, and I'm changing Zinchenko's position. So I'm changing quite a lot there.
I think I wouldn't be quite as radical as you.
Cool.
We are playing 3 games in a week.
Yeah.
So obviously there should be some rotation. I think I would. I'll keep Granit Xhaka in the team. He did look a bit jaded last night. Towards the end.
Who's your left back?
I'm sticking with Zinchenko at left back. So I am not. I'm sticking with Zinchenko. I'm bringing White back in for Tomiyasu because I think he came in last night just to do a job. Yeah. So that is my midfield. That is my back. The one change I would make to your team is I would leave out Eddie and Nketiah. I would play Martinelli still on the left, and I would have Trossard in this position here as like a false 9.
Fine.
So and they can interchange. What I think we could move away from actually, and I've been thinking this quite a while actually, is maybe we need to change the way we build up. So if you move Trossard say into there. These are 2 wide players could become like our main forwards who could be running in behind. So not necessarily...
A bit more Liverpool-esque.
Yeah, more Liverpool-esque. Not necessarily holding the width so much as they have been. Change the style and build up a little bit and change the way you play. Play more direct, play quicker and get Saka and Martinelli coming from out to in, making runs in and getting shots at goal instead of being out wide and having to continually recycle the ball, take players on. Just a subtle shift. You could switch it around a bit during the game. But I thought that would be a possibility. I'd like to see that Saka and Martinelli more direct, coming into goal more and having more shots at goal instead of sort of holding the width more. I do think we need to mix it up. We're playing 3 games in a week. I do think Granit Xhaka looked a bit tired, but he's a leader in that dressing room. Yeah. He's the man, and he's a leader of that team. So I wouldn't take him out.
I suppose you want to go away from home without Partey and Xhaka.
Partey and Xhaka. So that will be my team, James.
All right, fair enough. Let us know in the comment section what you'd all go for ahead of the Villa game. Let's end on the roundup stats.
I think you're going to be absolutely upsetting one of the people I talked to in the chat, who's a massive Granit Xhaka fan. You talk about your little conversations with Dave Jordan. I have Captain Smoke.
Okay.
He is a massive Granit Xhaka fan.
But I'm doing him a favour.
He'll be all over you on this one.
I think he's been brilliant. I think he needs a rest.
Yeah, anyway, okay. Closing stats, James, for this week. Arsenal have kept just 2 clean sheets now in the last 16 home Premier League games. Yeah. We need to defend better. We talked about the attacking players not doing their jobs last night, but we are giving away silly goals and we're not defending set plays so well. And we are conceding too many goals at home. Whether that's because of the way we set up, well, I think something needs to change.
I agree.
Arsenal managed just 1 shot on target in the game. Had just 3 shots at goal in the second half, as I mentioned. So for all that possession, for all that getting up, the field tilt we had in the half spaces, in the zone 14 area of the pitch, we only had 1 shot on target. Guilty of some glaring misses last night, Eddie and Nketiah in particular. Yep. And those sort of moments swing games. If you'd taken one of those chances, it would have swung the game in our favour.
I agree.
No winger has been directly involved in more Premier League goals than Bukayo Saka, 8 goals and 8 assists. Bukayo Saka became the first player to score in back-to-back Premier League appearances against reigning champions for Arsenal since Robin Van Persie in January 2012.
Wow, there you
and
go.
That's it, mate.
Right, we'll leave it there. Let us know what you'd go for ahead of the Villa game. Let us know your thoughts on the game. Who was your man of the match? I mean, I know we lost, but I guess Jorginho did well. Who else stood out for you? And yeah, how do Arsenal bounce back from this? Because we have 2 away games now. Will that do the players a favour? I saw some people online saying maybe the players need to get away from home. We do leak goals at home, get back on the road, keep things tight, mix things up a little bit, get some morale boosting wins on the bounce if we can, and then it's an opportunity against Sean Dyche's Everton. And then Jesus, Smith Rowe and Partey are still to be restored to this group of players. So not all hope is lost, but Arsenal do need to, it's a little bit of everything. They need to find the goals again. They've dried up a little bit the last 3-4 games, but they also need to tighten up at the back, an area that we were so good in for the first half of the season. All right, we'll leave it there. Big thanks to everyone. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and we'll catch you on the next Tactical Insight after the Villa game. Let's hope it's a win.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.